Hello, and welcome to an experimental video thing that I think will be cool. I'm gonna try reading a book. I'm gonna see how that goes well with the YouTube media thing. So, I'm gonna do a short little segment, and then you tell me what you think I should read, or should I continue this or not. I'm gonna go for it. Fuck you guys, okay? This is a book called Life in Parts by Bryan Cranston. I've read this twice already. I love it. This will be like an audiobook. But I'll start on like the security guard section. If you don't know Bryan Cranston, get off this video immediately. I'm giving you 5 seconds. Okay, it's been 5 seconds. Security guard. I was only 19, and the LAPD's minimum age requirement was 21. Plus, the police department's pay scale was better if you had a degree. So, I enrolled at the Valley Junior College as an administration of justice major, a fancy name for police science. On the side, I got a job as a protect all security guard. I worked in a gated community called Bell Canyon, an exclusive area in a ritzier section of the San Fernando Valley. I waved to residences as they passed by the automatic entry gate and checked in guests and delivery people. I worked the night shift, so there were very few guests and almost no deliveries. In essence, my job was to sit in a roomy, climate-controlled guard booth and get paid to do my homework and sip coffee. I liked that. I liked that a lot. I also had a pocket notebook with the, what is that word? With the admonition. I don't fucking know. Okay. I have rights printed on the front cover. On the back, I scribbled a rating system I devised for my security jobs. X was bad, one time only. The 4 X's meant a great place to work. I gave Bell Canyon 3 X's. I did my job well. So well, in fact, that I got a visit from my fully uniformed and armed supervisor. He said he was pleased that I was always at my post and never called in sick. He had 0 complaints against me, and he was impressed that I volunteered to work nights, and that I did so without grousing. I assume grousing means, grunting or like, I have to work the night shift. Fuck! He wanted to reward me. How do I feel about promotion? What about moving out of this dreary place, he says, waving his hand dismissively at my booth. How would you like to see some real action? Real criminals. The cops are called in almost every night, and, he gave a slight pause for emphasis, you get to carry a gun. He smiled at me, excited. I smiled back, uneasy. I looked around. I kinda like it here. I do my homework. I listen to the Dodgers game on the radio. No one bothers me. I didn't want to leave a good thing, but I didn't want to insult my boss. Does the promotion come with a raise? I asked. It did. 25 cents an hour, I calculated. That would bring me a total of $4.10. This was like back in the 60s or 70s or something. The extra quarter would have been nice, but I didn't want to carry a gun, and I was incidentally surprised that assuming the immense responsibility of carrying a weapon only earned you 25 cents more. I politely declined, feigning disappointment at the amount of raise. Well, I suppose there are a couple other posts I can offer you, he says, taken aback by my crippling lack of ambition. He signed me to an event at the Century Plaza Hotel on Avenue of the Stars. I was stationed at the back entrance. All the action was in front. The back was much quieter, more intimate. An occasional limo rolled up and outspilled a publicity-side celebrity. Nothing happened. Nothing happened. And then suddenly, Alfred Hitchcock. If you don't know who Alfred Hitchcock is, I'm speaking to you personally now. You are uncultured swine. I don't care who you are. I recognized his portly silhouette immediately. Security personnel whisked Mr. Hitchcock through the back entrance, and the limo doors were taken care of by the driver and valet. I wasn't sure what my job was even supposed to be, but hell, it was Alfred Hitchcock. I resolved to politely greet him when he left. An hour after he arrived, people around the back entrance started buzzing, and I sensed that someone was making an exit. Mr. Hitchcock emerged and made his way to the waiting car, and I rushed ahead of him so I could open the door. When I got close, I softly asked him, "Did you enjoy your evening, Mr. Hitchcock?" I waited for him to bestow upon me a bit of a sage wisdom I always cherished. Lunging for the limo, he turned slightly towards me and said, "Ah!" He waved his arms chaotically as if to shoo away a fly. He dove into the back seat. I stood there stupidly for a while, and then I went back to my post. That was my first brush with a Hollywood legend. Since I was going to be a policeman, I was pretty sure it was going to be my last. My other reward for being such a great booth guard was a posting in a grocery store called Hughes Market in Highland and Franklin, a transient corner in Hollywood that was rife with crime. I gave Hughes a quadruple X rating in my notebook. My job there was to man the two-way mirrors strategically placed high above the store and catch shoplifters. My mother always had light fingers. Whenever we'd go to the produce section of the supermarket, she would help herself with a piece of bulk candy. She loved those individually wrapped chocolate-covered caramels. Or she'd casually snap off a sprig. That's a word, okay. A sprig from a bunch of grapes, popping them into her mouth as she shopped. My mother taught us it was okay to sample, that the markets factor samples in overall cost. I think the mother was just a fucking thief. When I was a kid, I would always take a camera. God damn it, Brian. Okay, my brother too. Your mother was a horrible influence. Because it wasn't stealing. It fucking is. It was sampling. She turned your little minds. Okay. We never took big items, and never too many. 1 was acceptable, 3 was not. But if, for example, we spotted a bag of Toll House chocolate chips that have already been opened, we help ourselves to fistfuls. They couldn't sell the bag now anyway. Anyhow, I have become so accustomed to the candy samples that whenever I walked into the grocery store, I craved something sweet. That Pavlovian, I think that's what it's called, Pavlovian response went on for years. I vividly remember looking up at those mirrors in the stores and wondering if anybody was behind them. Now, I finally learned the answer, and the answer was me. My dark, eerie, and attic high above Hughes had an L-shaped catwalk. The ceilings were low, so I had to crouch, and the view was expansive. The mirrors protruded so I could even observe the meat counter beneath me. Little stools were set up, and I'd sit and wait and watch. I was good at spotting thieves long before they stole. I was never wrong. It wasn't that I possessed some preternatural powers of perception. Once you know what to look for, thieves are pretty conspicuous. People who shop are busy. They're scanning their lists and examining labels, doubling back from that item they forgot. People who steal look around and down aisles fruitlessly. Shoppers move quickly. Thieves have a slower pace. They're trying to be careful. I learned to detect the telltale signs. The most telling of tales. What? The most telling of tales was when people looked up at the two-way mirror. I wonder if anybody is there. And I was sitting there in the dark whispering, yes, I'm here. People stole constantly. They would take anything. Light bulbs, coffee filters, a whole pineapple. Now how the fuck do you expect to smuggle pineapple? One guy stood in the pet supply aisle and pocketed 4 or 5 dog leashes. Dog leashes. You're going to risk getting arrested for dog leashes. By law, a thief has to be outside of the store to be caught. If you confronted a guy in the store, he can just point to the cold cuts in his pockets and say, "Hey, man, I didn't grab a basket, so I just put it here for a moment while I was looking for something else." "Oh, I put salami in my pocket all the time." I had a little microphone at my station behind the mirrors, and when I spotted the thief, I needed to alert the manager. We had a code. At the precise moment a thief was crossing the threshold of the store, I spoke into my microphone, and my voice blared out through the intercom. "Fred, the coffee is on in the front." Or, "The coffee is on in the back, Fred." The front or back told Fred where to look for the culprit. The front door or the back door. The manager then rushed to the relevant door and detained the shoplifter outside the store. I made my way down and said, "I witnessed you stealing such and such." Then I walked back to the manager's office and waited for the cops to show up. It was ridiculously easy. Per 6-hour shift, I could catch up to 10 people. Sometimes I had more than one thief in the store at the same time, and I had to decide which one I was going to follow. "You have packages for the soup mix in your jacket." "No, I don't." "You're sure you don't have them, sir?" And the guy would say, all right. He opened his jacket and what do you know? Soup galore. There were no big ticket items at the store, so it was all pretty petty stuff. But you had to detain them and call the police because otherwise they would come back night after night. Once you got caught, you were in the system. If we caught you again, there was an accumulation effect. And that meant arrest and a potential jail time. Hughes Market carried a huge roast wrapped in cellophane. I don't know what the fuck cellophane is. I assume it's like fish stock nets. But it's like, what the fuck ever. Look at it. They could run up to 1.5 feet long. One time I saw this couple in their late teens, grungy, probably runaways, loitering. What? Okay, in the meat section. The guy was doing that telltale glance over the shoulder while the girl shoved the giant slab of meat down her pants. Wasn't the first time she did it anyway. Down the length of her thigh and headed towards the back door. The roast was so long she couldn't bend her knees, so she was limping, dripping a trail of bloody roast juice in her wake. My cue. "Fred, the coffee is on in the back." The manager detained them outside. I went down and confronted her. She had the sheepish look on her face and glanced around as if maybe she was thinking about running, then let out a sigh of concession and pulled the roast out of her pants. I did the paperwork and waited for the police to show. I was doing my job, and yet I couldn't help feel sorry for those two. They had to be hungry. That's the end of this section here. So if you enjoyed part of my stumbling, rambling shit thing, just put a comment on there, see if you want me to read more, or preferably someone else. If you don't want me to continue with this, just tell me. Tell me so I don't waste my time, okay? That would be great. Thank you.
I see what you're wearing, there's nothing beneath it. Forgive me for staring, forgive me for breathing. We might not